And, well, this guy soars. But this guy's not quitting. Is that why Romney folks are just plain sore? Something tells me Ron Paul does not care. Something tells me Ron Paul will tell me that himself on the phone with me right now, because that's where he is, on the phone with me right now. Congressman, good to have you back. How you doing?
Thank you, Neil. Good to be with you.
I do hear sometimes from some Romney folks who are getting a little antsy that you're in the race, Newt Gingrich is in the race, and they're more or less saying, don't they know that this race is over? What do you say?
Well, no, it isn't over until the votes are counted, and we're in the process of course, counting a lot of delegates in the states where they've already voted, and it takes a couple months to do that.
Yeah.
Still a strong, and this is not the healthiest in politics, although this is the way politics usually works. There's a strong anti-Romney element in the Republican, primary, and of course, Santorum was getting a lot of that. But with him leaving now, I don't think that eliminates the people who are concerned that Governor Romney is not conservative enough.
That might be, Congressman, but the math is daunting, particularly for you. You're at 51 delegates now. It would take a lot of head turning and changing to change that. I know mathematically you're right, it could happen. But it is daunting, is it not?
I think so. I think it is, but a week ago, there was not one political pundit was predicting that Santorum would fade away and disappear in one day. So things change rather rapidly, and we don't know exactly what would happen. But yeah, I don't think Las Vegas is betting on me at the moment.
We have a lot of primaries, a couple of caucuses, obviously, before the convention in Tampa. Obviously, as you've told me many times, sir, you got to pick up some W's along the way. All the more now, right?
Yeah, but, it's all how you define it. But right now, there's several states that we're going to, we have a very good chance of winning, the plurality and have the majority, have control of that delegation. And with that comes a little bit of clout in politics and clout at the convention. So we have to wait and see how this thing pans out.
Congress, I could be imagining things, but having moderated one of the presidential debates and having watched this process very, very closely, obviously not as closely as you, I get a sense that Mitt Romney has the most respect for you. Didn't seem to flip over Rick Santorum. I could be wrong. Didn't seem to think much of Governor Rick Perry when he was in the race. Was dismissive of some of the others. Maybe out and out hates Newt Gingrich. But again, this is just me speaking as a human being, vibes I get. So you two have not exchanged any nastiness through the campaign, as far as I could tell. So that begins to raise this issue, that maybe there's an understanding that Mitt Romney and Ron Paul are going to come up with something or do something beyond just a primetime speech, which at the very least you deserve and should be guaranteed. But even something bigger. What do you say?
We've never had that conversation. It is true that the cordiality between the two of us was better than with the others, but of course the politics are such that I just can't imagine that happening because our views are so different. But I think I could more likely see his family and our family playing a baseball game together than us going to the convention together.
Really? So this, personalities aside, there's nothing political going on here or strategy being expressed here? Because, it does stand out, Congressman, that you two, you've had a lot of nasty ads that you ran. They say nasty, you might say realistic, whatever.
Yeah.
But where you haven't quite taken down Mitt Romney to nearly the degree you have some of the others, like Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum. And he the same with you. Is that just coincidental?
Well, I think it's politics. Of course, my most recent ad that came down because I mentioned all three of them.
Yes, you did.
And I did that early on, but the ads against Gingrich and Santorum were sharper, mainly because I think we were vying, at least in my belief, we were vying for the same people, the same voters, where Romney was going to be more looking for the more moderate voter and not the conservative base. So I think that was more of it. But I think I would like to think also that there's some practical politics from his viewpoint. There was a poll, Rasmussen poll this week showed that I actually did better than he did. He tied with Obama, and I beat him by 1 point.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think even those people who are voting for for Romney and me are different, because I'm going to give civil libertarians and anti-war people. I cut into the Democratic base, so it's a different group of people. So if he indeed wins, and my greatest strength is across the political spectrum, my toughest place to sell liberty is in the Republican primary, unfortunately, because I emphasize more things than just how we should go and advance the military operations around the world. So my appeal is differently. But for anybody who wants to win an election, should not ignore these people, and I think this explains our success now, which seems to be increasing, rather than saying, well, fold your tent and leave, the winner's been declared. We're getting bigger crowds and more money in. So there's something even beyond my complete understanding, because I quite frankly would think, well, in politics, the only thing that drives you is tomorrow you're going to be in the White House or something like that. But the enthusiasm is there. This past week, both in Texas and in California, it's really been energizing, not only for the campaign, but for me personally.
We'll watch very closely, Congressman. Have a good weekend, a safe weekend.
Thank you.